You know, I got to give the WWE credit at this one. I feel like when you open up the month, the build up toward Crown Jewel, and you start with this title that kind of set everything in motion for people to hate on Crown Jewel before any matches have really been announced, other than the ones that you can predict when it's title versus title. But I got to give it to them, even after everybody coming at them about this title and just talking about it being something worthless, they came together and they put together not just a fantastic card, but not just a short card either. They actually putting together, I believe we were up to a total of 7 matches for this one, and there's a lot to love about this. There's a lot of matches to be excited about. None of them really feel like fan service for the like Saudi crowd. It doesn't feel like the things I've heard about in the past as much, where, you know, they're pulling together like Goldberg and some other, you know, someone who's probably should be done by now. It doesn't feel like that. It feels like a normal PLE card, and that's got me pretty excited. And I feel like the only thing that I look at and I think is kind of silly with this whole thing now is the title, which, if that's the only issue, I don't have that much to complain about anymore. Like, I'm seeing all of this and I'm feeling pretty good about it. So before I jump into the predictions, I want to ask you, is this actually a badass card? Do you feel like this is actually going to be an awesome show? Just given the matches, just like throw that title completely out of your mind for your second, if that's something that is preventing you at all from enjoying the show. I'm asking honestly. Let me know in the comments, is this an actual awesome card? We're gonna go through it, but it really seems like you're almost getting a bit of an all-star lineup with some really good feuds as well. So let's start it off with the Crown Jewel Championship between Cody Rhodes and Gunther. You've got your heavyweight championship, your WWE championship, and they're going to clash here with Cody Rhodes and Gunther. And I think this one's going to be really, really technically sound. I feel like Cody and Gunther, I feel like this is just going to be really fun to watch. I could see there being a lot of really creative and interesting reversals. I could see the in-ring psychology and storytelling between the two being damn near flawless. I mean, I know I'm watching a PLE when it cuts to Gunther sitting up and leaning against the ropes. He's all dripping and so he's you know what I'm talking about? That moment where Gunther is clearly against someone who can give him a great match and against someone who in story is supposed to be at his level or higher. I'm already looking forward to that moment between these two. But when it comes to making a prediction for this match, I do think it's going to be Cody Rhodes coming out with the victory. I feel like I just don't see a world where the WWE is willing to put Gunther over Cody. Now, does that mean this is going to end cleanly? Probably not. I've heard that there were the rumors about Goldberg potentially interfering with Gunther. I've also seen further rumors that that's been completely thrown out, that he's not expected to be anywhere near the show when it happens. I don't even think he's supposed to be in attendance. So the whole Goldberg thing hopefully isn't going to happen. I don't think that's how I'd want this to go. I'm going to take the stab and I'm just going to say maybe Cody Rhodes and Gunther actually get a clean 1v1, and I'm going to give it to Cody Rhodes because I'm going to, call me crazy, you can call me a fool, you can call me a mark, you can call me whatever you want. I'm going to take the stab and I'm going to say, at least for this match, they are not going to use the crutch of, well, we're going to have this end dirty in some way. We're going to have this end. I mean, maybe the only way I could see, maybe there'd be some interference. Maybe Ludwig gets involved and maybe Gunther wins because of a little bit of Imperium interference. But I'm going to stick to my guns. I'm going to go with a solid prediction that Cody Rhodes is simply going to beat Gunther, and it's going to be a hell of a match. I don't think there's going to be, I'm not saying nothing crazy could happen, but I don't think the result of the match is going to be directly attributed to anything that would be seen as something that was dirty or interfering or anything of the sort. On a side note, if you're not already on the Patreon, I highly recommend you check it out at this point. It couldn't be a better time. We're putting out so many watch-alongs. Me and my fiance Tally do watch-alongs on the Patreon of a bunch of old matches that you guys submit. Any patron can watch all of the watch-alongs, but the higher tier patrons actually get to pick every single month which matches we go through and which ones we watch. It's been a great way for her and I to learn wrestling, learn the history of a lot of these wrestlers, and see a bunch of wrestlers that we've never actually heard of before, but now now we understand references that we didn't. Tally and I also have a podcast that goes there every month that you guys get to participate in if you choose to. The Patreon is just an extremely active and close-knit community at this point, and I invite you to check it out. The link will be down below. Let's go back to the video. All right, let's talk about the women equivalent. You've got the Crown Jewel Championship between Nia Jax and Liv Morgan. This one, at first I wasn't really sure what to make of this one, but then I started piecing it to in my head. Liv Morgan, I feel like, is not someone who really, from what I have seen in my short viewing, I've only been watching wrestling for about a year and a half. Some of you are tired of hearing me saying that, and some of you are hearing me say that for the first time. So for those of you who are new here, I am not a long-term wrestling fan. I've only been watching since WrestleMania 39. So please take what I say about wrestlers and predictions with a grain of salt. I'm just going off of the sample size that I have, which is not much. And when it comes to Liv Morgan, I never see her as someone who's really the star of the match. I never really see her doing something crazy and super memorable. Usually when she's memorable in a match, it's story related. Usually it's psychology. Usually it's the actual storytelling that she provides. For me personally, it's never usually her pulling off some big sick move, but that could also be because she's a heel right now. And to my understanding, heels aren't supposed to be the ones doing the big flashy stuff. So, you know, just throwing that out there. But I guess in this case, they're both heels, so I don't know, maybe that's not even going to apply here. But the reason I think this could go really well is because the way I feel like Liv likes to, maybe not likes to, but the way she is usually winning her matches and succeeding in her matches is never by overpowering her opponent. She's never really out strengthening someone. What I'm thinking, maybe overpowering is the correct word there, but Nia Jax is going to be that powerhouse. She's going to go and try to literally squash Liv. Liv usually gets her offense and her success by trying to outsmart her opponent, using their momentum against them, trying to find conniving ways, not always necessarily dirty, but looking for windows of opportunity where her opponent they leave it open and she takes it. I feel like this is kind of perfect between someone like Liv, someone smaller like Liv, and someone who is obviously much bigger and booked as a powerhouse like Nia Jax. It's already kind of been done with Liv and Rhea, with Rhea also being booked like a powerhouse, but this kind of works just as well with Nia Jax, I feel like, especially since Nia Jax has been putting on some great performances since returning to the WWE. So with this one, if there was no interference, I think I would take Liv Morgan to win this one, and it would be through some using Nia's momentum and kind of outsmarting her, because Nia's also being booked like the overly cocky and kind of mistreating her allies kind of enemy kind of heel that you feel like you could take advantage of and take advantage of their ignorance, or not ignorance. Arrogance is the word I'm looking for. Nia Jax's arrogance feels like something that Liv Morgan could take advantage of. But for my prediction, I'm going to say we're just going to get the cash in. Screw it. This feels like it could be a little early, especially knowing that the men's briefcase was burned on day one. I think this could be an extremely interesting way to cash this in. But my question, I'm going to rely on some of you that maybe know the rules more than I do. I don't think there's ever been a cash in when two champions have been going at it. But what happens? Do you cash in? How does a cash in work exactly? Do you cash in on the person or the match? You get what I'm saying? If Tiffy cashed in on this match, are both titles on the line? Or does she need to clarify in the moment of that action that she is cashing in on a specific title? That's a question that I'll leave for you guys. I'm not really sure if she would be only cashing in on one or the other, but I actually don't think she's going to be cashing in during the match. I think that could also create confusion, and I don't think WWE wants people to be confused at the end of a match. So if I'm booking this match and I want the crowd to be fully understanding what's happening and not like, wait, does she win this? Does she win that title? Does she win it all? I think Liv Morgan is going to win this match with the help of the Judgment Day, whether it be Dom, whatever. I think Tiffy is going to be nearby. Tiffy's going to be expected to assist Nia. So let's say, for instance, the Judgment Day comes out and Raquel is attacking Nia or messing with Nia. I think Tiffy would also come out there and maybe help a little bit, be expected to help out. But maybe Nia starts mistreating Tiffy during that match. Maybe there's a little bit of that, little bit of psychology that we have seen in the weeks leading up to this, where Nia is clearly mistreating Tiffy and she's just not vibing with it. She's not loving it at all. And you always see it when Nia walks away on Tiffy's face. So then what I'm going to do there, if I'm going to book this match, is Tiffy is going to wait until this match is over. And this match, I think, is going to end with Liv winning, help from the Judgment Day. Nia's going to be pissed. she's going to be like, why didn't you help me? Why didn't you help me the right way? Why didn't you do this? Push. Why didn't you do that? Shove. Tiffy's going to have enough of it. And while the Judgment Day are on their way up the ramp, celebrating, holding up their belt, their new crown jewel belt or whatever, I think Tiffy hits Nia in the back of the head with the briefcase, cashes in, wins the title. Tiffany Stratton is your new WWE Women's Champion. Now, is that a little bit over specific? Meaning I'm probably most likely going to be wrong in a lot of aspects? Yeah, probably, but I had fun coming up with it. So if you have any other variant of how you would do a cash-in, I'd be very curious. Put it in the comments. All right, next up, let's talk about Seth Rollins and Bronson Reed. This is one that I'm really excited about because Bronson Reed has just earned this. I mean, how can anyone say otherwise at this point? If you're a Bronson hater at this point, I think you just always hated him and nothing he can do can make it better. Because that feud between Bronson Reed and Braun Strowman elevated both of them. But given that Bronson Reed is the guy that's on the up and coming and Braun Strowman's already been around, I'm really glad that this whole feud put Bronson Reed over and he's being seen as a main event guy. And what better way to invite him into the main event scene than put him right in with someone who just bleeds main event energy, Seth freaking Rollins. I think these two could put on an absolute banger of a match. I'm wondering if they're going to find some way to implement the tsunami and the stomp into a reversed finished somehow. I don't know how they could do it, but whenever I see Seth Rollins is in a match, I feel like his finisher is one of the ones that's the most fun to mix in with the opponent's finisher and create some sort of awesome reversal. But when it comes to the result of the match, I think this is a great time to have Bronson win. I think the easy answer is to pick Seth Rollins because he's Seth Rollins. And I'm not someone who believes that one loss would bury someone, but I think I am so in on Bronson's rise up right now. I think building him as this powerhouse would be extremely entertaining, and I think it would validate him as a main eventer and not just a mid-carder getting an opportunity. There's that different feel where you feel like someone in the mid-card is getting a peek at it, kind of like when LA Knight got his shot at Crown Jewel last year with Roman Reigns. It didn't really feel like LA Knight was moving to the main event, which he's not. He's the US champion. He's definitely in the mid-card scene. But when I looked at it, it's more like a moment where you're happy for the guy and you're just like, oh, cool, he's getting a shot. You know, he's probably not going to win, and then he'll be back to the mid-card, but this will be great experience. I don't want that feeling with Bronson Reed. I think he has the personality. I think his character, I think his build, and I think the way he uses his build and to put on banger matches, I think it really is, it would be a massive injection of energy into the main event scene with someone who is, at least at the top of my head, there's not another guy like Bronson Reed on the roster in the main event scene. If someone's totally slipping my mind, just let me know in the comments. My bad. But when I look at Bronson Reed, I really want to see him stay in the main event. So Bronson Reed winning this match, I feel like it would feel so validating for him. And I'm not even saying I'm not even saying this feud has to end right here. I kind of like the idea of Seth Rollins and Bronson Reed, having this go for a month or two, maybe a couple PLEs, and Seth Rollins can get him back or something. We'll see, but I'm really going to be rooting for Bronson here. I'm going to predict that Bronson Reed is going to beat Seth freaking Rollins at Crown Jewel. Let's talk about Randy Orton and Kevin Owens. God, this one just kind of, I don't want to say it sprung out of nowhere, but it really did feel like a month ago, you would never think this would be happening because they were buddies. So much has happened in recent weeks, and this is a really cool thing that I don't usually see on the WWE. This is something new for me, where I feel like part of the build being that Kevin isn't around is really interesting to me. I feel like that's a risk you're going to take as a storyteller, but when you really hammer home that Kevin Owens is straight up dangerous in his current state, and you have someone like Triple H, for the first time since I've been watching, actually being Triple H and not just Paul. He's not just the guy running the show. He came out, I feel like, as Triple H, as his character, and it felt cool seeing Triple H actually being his character, but it felt even cooler seeing Kevin Owens talked about this way. Talked about in a way, it's almost like me as a newer viewer, I was hearing about this old version of Kevin that's been tucked away for a minute, and it kind of got me hyped up thinking, man, I'm going to see a different side of Kevin Owens. Now, to be fair, over on the Patreon, I've seen some very betrayal versions of Kevin Owens, but in current day WWE, this is going to be new to me. So that buildup right there was actually pretty damn awesome. And even though Kevin hasn't been here this whole time to do that for himself, I think the sell was almost made better. I feel like Triple H kind of put Kevin Owens over and kind of elevated him. Whereas if that hadn't happened, I really do kind of feel like I'd be looking at this like Kevin Owens is heavily the underdog because he's going against Randy Orton. But I'm looking at it a little bit more as an even matchup with Randy Orton, you know, the Viper, going up against this unhinged, crazy prize fighter Kevin Owens, who's pissed. I'd be lying if I said I wanted Randy to lose at this one. I don't want him to. I feel like it's all he's been doing is losing at PLEs. I feel like he's really, really good during the week to week, and then he keeps losing at a PLE. And I would kind of hate to add to that, but man, am I loving the Kevin Owens build. I don't know who I want to win this one because I want both of these guys to challenge Cody for their title. So whichever one wins, that's going to be the one that I want to actually get a shot at Cody. So sure, put Kevin Owens over or Randy Orton. So if I want both of them, I guess I'm going to pick Kevin to win now because I think there's a higher chance that Randy Orton is Cody's opponent at WrestleMania. So as much as I think this is a coin flip, I do think it would be really cool if Kevin Owens got even more put over to look like this unhinged, terrifying beast right now. So yeah, I guess I'll take Kevin Owens. It's tough for me to pick on this one, but if I really want Randy to be the WrestleMania opponent for Cody, I think this has got to be Kevin's time. So I'm picking Kevin Owens, clean victory over Randy Orton. Speaking of it being a clean victory, I'm a little surprised this one is only booked as a regular 1v1. I'm really surprised they didn't add some extra stipulation. I don't know, just with how it's been going, or maybe even like I heard someone say that this would be a really good opportunity for an unsanctioned match. I don't remember where I heard it, so I apologize for lack of credit to that person, but this feels like it was kind of begging to be an unsanctioned match with how Triple H didn't want this to happen. So that would be pretty cool. All right, let's get into the United States Championship. That's going to be a triple threat between LA Knight, Andrade, and Carmelo Hayes. I don't know how to feel about this one. I was pretty disappointed with the Game 7 ending and just how that went. I was really hyped to see this feud that felt so earned, and it felt like they had put on so many banger matches. I was really excited for there to be a fantastic Game 7. So the fact that I'm pretty confident that I feel like LA Knight is going to win this triple threat, it kind of sucks, you know. It makes it feel like we saw this whole build of Carmelo and Andrade to get to a Game 7 to get LA Knight as the ref. LA Knight then just ends up making it about him, and now he's probably going to retain against the both of them at Crown Jewel. And it kind of takes, I feel like that's a lot taken away from Andrade and Carmelo Hayes. I don't know why I can't say Carmelo Hayes. Jesus, I'm cutting it from the video, but it took me like 6 tries, and even that wasn't perfect. But seriously, maybe one of you can make me feel better about it. But am I missing something here? Is this something that you guys actually like? I'm not really trying to compare it to other people I've seen on the internet. I know the internet wrestling community is a very vocal minority, so I'm not really kind of taking that into consideration. It's really just personal preference. I really wanted to see a banger between those two. And for the Game 7 banger to end up in both of them losing essentially in this triple threat would be kind of lame. But hey, maybe Andrade or Carmelo would take the title. I don't see it. I feel like LA Knight is so over right now that it would just be wild to see him already drop the title. But I mean, Braun lost it pretty quick and Jay gave it right back. So, I mean, who knows? I'm picking LA Knight to win this one, but I'm not particularly happy about it. Not because I don't like LA Knight. I just feel like this is kind of dampening the whole Game 7 situation that we had. So I'm a little bummed about it, but I would love to hear if you guys have a more positive spin on it that make me feel a little bit better about it. I'm happy to hear it. We got some women's tag titles on the line, which is pretty cool. We got Bianca Belair and Jade obviously defending against Chelsea Green, Piper Niven, and then they're also going up against, I haven't look this up. It's Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson in the Meta 4. I've only seen them in recent weeks. I've seen them a little bit on NXT. And then also Damage Control, Io Sky, and Kairi Sane is going to be in that match as well. But I'm focusing on Meta 4 because they kind of won me over really quickly in these last just few weeks. I like their personality. I like how much they lean into their character. And I like how they just kind of walked in one day and were like, no, we're relevant. We're going to be going for this. I like the confidence that they bring. I do like that a lot. Overall, this entire 4-way women's tag match, I feel like it's a lot, but I feel like it could be a really cool like car crash spot fest as well. I'm pretty sure fatal 4-way rules like this usually ends up in, I think it's usually a no DQ match. I don't know if they're going to change that or not do that, but I feel like you have the people in this match to do some really cool spots, maybe using some tables or announce desks or something like that. Io Sky and Kairi Sane, I already know are going to put on an absolute show. Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill, I love the finishers and the stuff that they do together. I am hoping that they get to use Jade a little bit more and keep giving her that experience. Chelsea Green and Piper Niven, I like them as characters. I don't know if I like them as a tag team. I like them too. It's like I like them together backstage, but when we actually go out there, as much as I do enjoy them in the match, there's just, I don't know if I really vibe with how they feel as an actual tag team. My prediction for this one is going to end up being Bianca and Jade retaining. I think I'm going to be rooting for Io Sky and Kairi Sane, but I just don't see a powerhouse like Bianca and Jade losing it in a group match. I really feel like it would be better to use it as an opportunity. Them losing the title, especially if I don't think the next time they lose it, I don't think they're going to get it back again. I think it would be way cooler to take two people who look like a powerhouse together to put over another tag team by losing in just a straight up tag match. And that would be kind of lame if it happened through this, because then there's always the shenanigans and the, well, you didn't pin me scenario. So I'm predicting them to retain, but you know, if I'm rooting for just a tag team, I'd love to see with the belts again. I want to see Damage Control. Io Sky and Kairi have been pretty great together, and I love Io Sky, so I want Damage Control to win, but Bianca and Jade are going to retain. I'm a little annoyed that I have one more match to talk about, and it's only because I did a really good job of avoiding spoilers for this upcoming pre-recorded SmackDown. I really, really stayed away. So if you also somehow stayed away, I guess, you know, this is the end of the video for you. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one. If you don't want to be spoiled on a match that's going to be announced then, but I was doing so well at avoiding spoilers by only looking at like official posts, and I wasn't scrolling through Twitter and all that. The WWE posted it. The WWE posted this match that is supposed to not be set up until SmackDown. So I officially found out through a WWE tweet about a match that hasn't been set up on TV yet. So they've announced it, and we're gonna see it get built up at SmackDown, I guess. I don't know. That's strange to me. Unless I missed something on Raw. I could be totally wrong, but I'm pretty sure they did not announce this match. Sorry, my voice is going. I've been recording so much today that this is the last thing of the day, and it's starting to go. But Roman Reigns and the Usos are facing Team Bloodline. Am I excited about it? Yeah. Do I wish I would have found out about it on SmackDown? Yeah. Because that means it's also being spoiled that the Usos are willing to work together, and they're going to actually work with Roman. So that's also probably spoiling that Jay is probably going to make amends with Roman, or to some extent. So I'm a little annoyed that I got spoiled WWE stuff by the WWE. Like that kind of sucks. Whatever. I feel like I was doing a pretty damn good job avoiding it, and they blew it. Whatever. I'm still excited for it. It's just, man, you don't expect the show to be the one that spoils. I don't even know how to make a prediction for this one, because I don't know what the build is. I know what the build up, I guess, is, but I don't know how we got to this match. But if you made me guess, I'm gonna say that they probably are going to do this again, maybe a full 4v4 at War Games and Survivor Series, and that's only at the end of the month. So given that that's not too far away, unless you're going to have Roman and the Usos win both, I could see the Team Bloodline taking advantage of the fact that it's 4-on-3 to win this match. It would be weird seeing them beat Roman. It would be weird seeing them beat the Usos. I don't think I would love to see that, but I could see them doing it in a way that would be very interesting. Maybe even The Rock gets involved somehow. Oh God, that means it's going to be the main event, isn't it? But I could see that happening, where the reason they win is because they have 4 and the Usos and Roman are only 3. And then that gives us a few weeks between this show and Survivor Series for Roman and the Usos to figure out how to get Sammy on board. It sounds like Sammy's already actually the one on board, so maybe the other way around. The Usos would have to want him to be there, especially Jay. I don't even know if Roman's going to end up wanting Sammy. So maybe that's going to be the build where we get Sammy actually involved with these guys, so that they have a full 4 against the new Bloodline 4 for War Games. So I'm also predicting that match for War Games, that we are going to get that 4v4. And then I'm predicting that Roman's version of the Bloodline is going to beat Solos at Survivor Series. So I am going to pick Team Bloodline to win this one. It's going to be through, obviously, you know, it's going to be through cheating. It's going to be through whichever, like Tama Tonga or Tonga Loa, whichever one's left out of the match. They're going to get involved, or insane to think like if The Rock got involved and was the reason for it. So yeah, unfortunately, Bloodline's probably winning this one. Toss your predictions down below. Tell me how right I am, how wrong I am, and whatever I want to discuss with you guys. Thank you for watching this one. Thank you to the patrons that are flying up the screen. Look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye.